Sure, great win for us today. Northern Arizona is a really solid team, and we knew that going in. They're youthful, I will say that, but they are skilled, and we're going to look back at this film and find some areas that we can get better and grow in. So really grateful that we got this win today. Obviously, they have an elite player in Naomi White that, we felt like we did a better job in the second half. The first half, we lost our assignment, kind of lost our way, and that was like collectively as a full team. So I think there's some possessions we would like to have back that we felt like maybe we got away from the blueprint. But, I thought we came out with a little bit better focus, connectedness in that third quarter. Julia started off, hit a couple threes. That gave us a little bit more separation. Shout out to Tatum West, too, because anybody that was watching the game could see she was a one-woman wrecking crew. Grabbing rebounds. I think she got 7 O boards, and I would tell you most of those are probably not her O boards, so she's tracking down other people's shots. And so just that will and want and aggressiveness continues to be pretty special by her side. But it was a collective team win tonight, and it definitely took all of us. We had a lot of different players playing, different rotations, but found a way at the end and really to get that lead and never really to succumb to lead. But credit to NAU, too, because I feel like they kept it close enough. Just close enough that it felt too a little uncomfortable in moments, but we found a way, and I think that's the best part.
Questions?
Okay. So you talked about Tatum. She has 11 rebounds throughout this whole game, and then you beat NAU off 11 rebounds from it. You guys have 44, they have 33. Talk about the performance within the rebound game to stay fundamental throughout, an aggressive paint team, especially where they pull out the 2-3 zone early on and stay within it throughout the game. Just talk about that.
Sure, and I'll start with actually the 2-3 zone and then talk about Tatum. But they were the first team that's really just set in this zone, which was fine. We've prepped for that. We knew it would be coming here at some point, and so that was just their game plan. And I think it was fine. I think it took us to the second half to really be more aggressive in what we were doing. But Tatum, she's a physical player. And as we've talked about with her, with rebounding, it's a will, it's a want. And she does an excellent job of tracking the ball, going and getting it. And we did not shoot it at a very high percentage. 39% is not special. I thought we had some wide open threes that we didn't knock down, that we felt like if we would have knocked them down would have created much more separation. But, by the end of the day, you got to make those shots. We were not, and Tatum was continuing to hunt no matter what. And that's like a huge piece of what we're doing because at some point then it became a volume. Well, we had more opportunities now than the other team, whether we shot it well enough or not, and that allowed us to still come out on top.
Gabi, 34 points in the paint from you guys, and to kind of go back into that defense that they're playing within the 2-3. What was it like? What was the team talk? What was kind of the readiness for this game to, still attack to the paint, even though they're going to have a set defense for that within the team, whether it's the starters or the backups, anything?
Well, I think initially we didn't necessarily attack like we usually do against the zone, and I think it just took a little bit to kind of get in the groove and understand how they were going to guard, because the paint is that we score a lot of points in the paint just between games, and so that was an adjustment we made. I felt like throughout, just playing through our fives, and even like with the O boards, like that gives us those second chance opportunities. So maybe we missed an outside shot, we have another possession, then we can look to play inside out more.
Coach, we kind of talked about a NAU last game within the press conference. I believe it was 2 games ago. She shot 5 for 11, but then even to include Tatum into this 2 for 7. Do you want more of the paint woman, or that paint inside scoring? Do you want a lot more scoring through them, or was that something that just couldn't?
I think we want both. We want a balanced attack, is what we say, inside out. We believe inside is the highest percentage shot you can get, so that's great. But they were actually sandwiching Anaya. They had sometimes one in the front and one behind her. So at that point, we have other players to play through. And again, I thought we had some looks from the perimeter, and I don't think we knocked them down. But we do want a balanced inside-out attack. And what we say is, if we're not scoring from the perimeter, now we maybe need to work inside out again and see if we can get a paint touch. And we say those inside-out threes are probably more likely to go in than just a quick transition three. So it was constant communication, I think, throughout the game of keeping our guards aggressive because we didn't want them just being passers around that zone, getting our post, defined. And there was honestly kind of end of third, even towards the end of the fourth, we got a few transition buckets. Those were actually the bigger buckets that just kind of kept that separation at, 11, 12, whatever point lead it was, 10. And so we want balance, I guess, to answer your question as best as we can get. And it was tough to get it into her tonight, as it should be.
Gabi, Northern Arizona, you guys had them turn the ball over 18 times. Was there any talk within the team, or was that something you guys saw from an early on standpoint that you guys can put pressure on as the defensive side and cause those big turnovers?
Yeah, well, one of our things is our defensive identity, just like as a team, and we want to be known for being able to put pressure on other teams and be able to turn them over. And so that's always a focus coming into the game with us pressing and flipping our defense. Like, we know we can control the game on the defensive end, and so that is ultimately our goal, is to be able to force turnovers and play in transition, because that's when we're playing best as a team.
Yeah, ladies, at this point, you're a top 4 team in the conference at this point. Overall, what's been behind the success this season, looking broadly?
Yeah, it's hard for me to say because I feel like the job's not done yet and we're so early in it. So I guess it depends, like, how do we define success? Well, ultimately, big picture goal is to be a Big Sky champion, right? So now the way we say it is we're just doing our job and putting ourselves in a situation. So there's, I think that we had a post on social media that was saying we had 5 wins in a row, but that's like not our goal. We need 10 in a row or whatever it may be, right? So I think there's a connectedness, togetherness to the team. As you see, they play really, really hard. And there's no substitute for just the hard work and just that effort level. And then we have some players that are putting the ball in the hole for us. So I think it's a collective unit right now that we have, and they've been a joy to coach. And we still, as we talked about, you could be, I guess, what are we, 6-2, and we have now 10 games left, and you could go 4-6 or something to end it. Now, I hope we don't. That's not our mindset and our mentality. Doesn't even reach the expectations that we have. But it is really a one game at a time. Even though we can see everything that's going on, we know that we have to control our own destiny. And it doesn't really matter that somebody lost or somebody won. On other teams, it only matters what we're doing to take care of business. And Gabi, if you want to piggyback.
No, I just think as a team, we've done a really good job of keeping our focus on our end goal, and that is to be a Big Sky champion. And like Coach said, we're just right now doing what we're supposed to do. And so it's easy to be comfortable off of a couple wins, but I don't feel like that's what we're talking about as a team. And I know that that's not all we're here to do. We're here to accomplish our big end goal, which is to win the conference.
Your bench today outscored NAU 33-16. That kind of jumps out at me once I start looking at it. Has that been the situation all year?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the balanced attack. We have a very solid bench. We have very capable scorers coming off the bench as well as the starting group. So I think that's, when you ask what's part of the success, well, it's because of depth. And depth allows you to have success, because you're not going to make every shot, or somebody, a 3-point shooter is going to have an off night. So how can you counter that? And, we have several players coming off the bench that have scored in the 20s for us this year too. So I think that's what is the beauty of the game, is we don't care who's scoring the points, who's getting, the recognition that night, as long as we get the win.